lecture we have studied that all the life processes in plants and animals, they are governed by different type of mechanisms which are going on in the animals as well as the plant's body. Now plants, as we know, that they are having a specific type of system. They cannot resemble to the animals, as we know that animals, they are going to have a different type of body as compared to the plants. So plants, they show a different type of mechanism where when they are going to get response to a particular type of stimulus. So we have seen that in plants, this particular control and coordination mechanism is governed by particular chemicals, that is called as the hormonal coordination. But in animals, as we know that animals are the multicellular organisms, they are going to have different cells in their body which are going to govern different type of control and coordination mechanism in their body. Now today we are going to study about the control and coordination mechanism going on in the animal's body. Before moving it is very essential to know that why animals can show two different types of control and coordination mechanism as compared to the plant's body. Now, as we know that animals are multicellular organisms, they are going to have different type of specialized cells in their body. Even if you will compare the life processes of plants and animals, you will come to know that there are certain mechanisms which are restricted to animals only, and there are certain mechanisms which are restricted to animals only. Animals as well as the plants, both are going to have different types of mechanism because their body systems are different. Now moving towards the animals, now all multicellular organisms except some sponges are there. Other living organisms, they are going to show a particular type of response to the stimulus which is coming from the atmosphere. If you will consider the example of amoeba, we have seen that amoeba itself, it is going to show different types of movement. It is going to have the pseudopodia for it. So whenever amoeba comes in contact with the food material in the environment, the area surrounding the environment, the area surrounding the particular amoeba, when food material is going to approach towards the amoeba, then amoeba is going to extend the pseudo legs, that is the false legs, and it is going to capture that food material. So in this example, we can say that the food material which was coming in the environment of the amoeba, it was a type of stimulus. To that particular stimulus, amoeba body, it has responded for it. So it is nothing but the response to stimuli. So in the same way, there are different examples where we can experience the response to stimuli. For example, if you are very hungry and if you are going to observe food material, then ultimately the salivation starts in our mouth. It is nothing but the response to stimuli. If by chance you are going to touch any hot utensil, immediately you are going to remove your hand. Now for this particular action, that hot utensil was a stimulus for your body and you have withdrawn your hand so that you will not get the injury. Now this was the response shown by our body. So all this response to stimuli, these mechanisms, they occur in living organisms to protect them. Now these type of responses, they even depend on the type of stimulus which is approaching towards the organism's body. Now broadly speaking, in animals are going to show different type of cells in their body. Now in the lower classes, we have already studied that there are sense organs which are responsible for sensing the things. Now which are the sense organs? Let us see. The first one is photoreceptors. Now the name photo itself suggests that it is responsible for the light. So we can say that these photoreceptors, these are nothing but the receptors. Receptor cells in our body. Now photoreceptor cells, they are very sensitive to light. So whenever the light is going to fall on organism's body, immediately this photoreceptor cells, they are going to show a particular type of response for that particular type of stimulus. The second one is phonoreceptors. Now phonoreceptor, the name itself suggests phonoreceptors. These are responsible for hearing purpose, or we can say that these are related to the sound. So phonoreceptors, they are sensitive to the sound which is coming from the atmosphere. The third one is olfactory. Now these olfactory receptors, they are very sensitive for the smell. The fourth one is gustatory receptors. These are essential for detecting the taste. And the last one is thermoreceptors. These are related to different types of pressures like hot, cold, pen, pressure, etc. Now see, these are the receptors in our body. Now what is the function of the receptors? So whenever these receptor cells are going to receive something from the environment, they are going to act accordingly. Now if our body is going to sense the light, then particularly we can say that our photoreceptors are very active. They are going to receive that particular stimulus from the atmosphere. Then phonoreceptors, these cells are very sensitive for the sound. Then olfactory receptors, they are very sensitive to smell. As we can say that whatever is cooking in the kitchen, at that time we can smell it. According to that, our body is going to show the response for that particular type of stimulus. Then gustatory receptors, they are responsible for the taste. So because of this type of receptors, we are able to detect the taste, that this particular food material is sweet in taste, this particular food material is bitter in taste, and this type of food material is sour in taste. So these gustatory receptors are essential for detecting the taste for the organism. And the last one is thermoreceptor. These are related to your skin. As we know that different sense organs are there. These photoreceptors are related to your eyes. Then phonoreceptors are related to your ears. Olfactory receptors, they are related to your nose. Then gustatory receptors, these are related to your tongue. And thermoreceptors, these are related to your skin. So whenever from outside your skin is going to detect hot, cold, pen, pressure, etc. Other different types of parameters, if these are going to come across to your body, then ultimately skin is going to detect these things and the skin is going to show the particular type of response. For example, if very cold is there, then ultimately what we will do? We will wear the sweaters, we will overshadow us with the help of the shawl. It is because of this particular type of thermoreceptors which are present in the skin. Then if it is very hot outside, then ultimately we are going to on the fan. Then if we are going to sense the pen, then ultimately we are going to remove our hand or we are going to remove that particular organ, and this happens with the pressure also. So these particular photo, phono, olfactory, gustatory and thermoreceptors, these are the specialized cells which are going to receive the different parameters from the environment. And after receiving these particular things, our body is going to follow the control and coordination mechanism to show a specific type of response to this specific type of stimulus which are going on. Now, human body is made up of different types of specialized cells. Now, these cells are of different parameters. These are of different functions. All these cells are going to perform different functions. Now, nervous system in living organisms or in animal, it is just because of the presence of brain. We know that we human beings are very intelligent people, or we can say we are intelligent animal. This is because we are having a very well developed brain system. Now this brain system comprises of the brain, then spinal cord is there and different organs which are attached to this particular type of nervous system. Now this nervous system is made up of minute cells which are present in the nervous system. These cells are nothing but the neuron. Here we can see the structure of the neuron. Neuron is also called as nerve cell. Neuron is also called as nerve cell. This is the structure of neuron. Now nerve cell is the largest cell. As we know that different cells are present in different organs, but this nerve cell is the largest cell. Now let us know how this nerve cells are going to act. See, here we can see the different parts of this neuron. Now neurons, billions of neurons are present in our nervous system. They are only present in the nervous system. We cannot say that neurons are present in the respiratory system. They are present in the excretory system, but they are specifically present in our nervous system. Now, these particular cells are only responsible for carrying the response and stimulus mechanism in the body. Whatever type of responses we are going to show, whatever type of activities we are going to show or we are going to pretend, they are nothing but because of the nervous system, which is a specialized system in animals only. Now see the structure of neuron. Here we are able to see that this particular part is called as cell body. Now as we know that this is a cell, it means that it is going to have some cell organelles, as in plant and animal cells they are present. So in the same way, this particular neuron, it is going to show a cell body which is going to have a structure of cytoplasm as it is present in all the type of cells. Then it is going to have nucleus in it. We can say that it is the brain of the particular cell. This nucleus is responsible for performing the different functions in the particular cell. So this cell body, or we can say it as cyton. So this cyton is made up of cytoplasm and nucleus. Now this particular cell body get extended with some small and long fibers also. Now these small fibers are called as dendrites. We can see here these are very small fibers, or we can say these are the extensions to the cell body. They are called as the dendrites, and the long fibers of this particular cell body, they are called as axon. So we can say that small fibers of this particular cell body, they are called as dendrites, and the long fiber of this cell body, it is called as the axon. Now what is the function of this dendrites, cell body and axon? Let us see now. These particular dendrites, as we are able to see that these are appearing just like antennas. Now antennas, these are specified for receiving the things. They are receiving the signals which are going on. As for televisions, we were having the antennas. They were able to receive the signals. In the same way, these dendrites are going to have specialized cells in them which are going to sense the signals from the outside. These signals from these dendrites, they are going to move towards the cell body in which cytoplasm and nucleus is already present. Now that particular impulse which has been taken or catched by these dendrites, it is going to move toward this particular cell body. Now from this cell body we can see more extension is there. It is called as the axon. So whatever signals have been catched by these dendrites, they are going to move toward the cell body, and from this cell body, that particular signal is going to move towards the axon. Now here we are able to see that this axon is covered by a layer. Now what is this layer made up of? Some nerve cells, or we can say some neurons, they have a different type of covering on them. It is nothing but the myelin sheath. It is called as the myelin sheath. Now this myelin sheath, it made up of proteins plus fats. So it is made up of proteins and fats. The function of this myelin sheath is to give protection to the particular nerve cell. Or we can say that it is going to act as an insulator for this particular nerve cell. It is going to protect this nerve cell, or it is going to protect this neuron from the external injuries. So whenever these dendrites are going to catch the signals from the outside, they are going to carry forward the signals toward the cell body. From the cell body, the same signals are going to get transmitted through this axon body. We can say, or we can see that this particular axon is the longest part of this neuron as compared to the cell body and dendrites. We can say that axons are the longest part of this particular neuron. So they transmit the signal received from the dendrites and they carry forward it towards the nerve endings, that is the ending of the neuron here. Now this myelin sheath is not present in all the neurons. We know that there are billions of neurons in our nervous system, but only some neurons, they are going to have this myelin sheath. Now what is the purpose of this myelin sheath? Whenever we are going to respond for a particular stimulus, sometimes that response is very, very quick and sometimes it is very, very slow. For example, if somebody is going to pinch you, then if the pinch is of a very less intensity, then ultimately after some time we are going to show the response for it that I got that particular pinch. But if suppose very quickly you are going to put your hand on a pin or a nail, then immediately you are going to remove your hand. So it was a quick response for it. So whenever the myelin sheath is present on this particular axon, the particular impulse which is going to travel, it is very quick. And if the myelin sheath is absent, then ultimately that particular response is very slow as compared to the myelinated neurons. So these neurons which are covered with myelin sheath are called as the myelinated neurons, and the neurons which are lacking in this particular myelin sheath, they are called as the non-myelinated neurons. Now see how the impulse is going to get carried forward here. Dendrites, they are going to catch the signal, or we can say that these dendrites are in contact with our receptor organs. Now we have seen that receptor organs are the photoreceptors, phonoreceptors are there. Now these dendrites are in coordination with the receptor organs. Whenever the receptor organs are going to take any type of stimulus from the outside, that particular thing is carried forward towards the dendrites. The dendrites are going to detect that particular stimulus. That stimulus is carried forward towards this one part, that is the cell body. From that cell body it is going to get transmitted inside this axon. They can be myelinated or they cannot be myelinated, or we can say they are the non-myelinated also. So impulse from this dendrite, it get carried forward towards the cell body. From cell body it get traveled towards the axon body, and at last this particular impulse it moves towards the nerve endings. Now up to this particular process, the impulse has traveled from dendrites to cell body to axon and at the nerve endings. Now at this nerve endings, we can say that this is the last part of this particular neuron. Now as we know that neurons, they are billions of neurons in our nervous system. So in our nervous system, these neurons are attached to each other. So how they are going to carry forward this impulse? As we have seen that the one neuron, this is the axon body of that neuron, and this is the nerve ending of it. This is the neuron A. This is the neuron A. Then attached to it, now as we have seen the structure of another neuron, we know that again there will be a different structures like this. Another neuron will be there which is going to have the same structure, the same cell body will be here, and here again the dendrites will be there. We can say that this is neuron B. This is neuron A and neuron B. We have seen the structure of neuron A, how the impulse has been carried forward from the dendrites to the cell body, to the axon and to the nerve endings. Now this is the nerve ending of particular neuron. This is the nerve ending. This is the nerve ending. Now here we can see that this is another neuron which is attached to the previous neuron. It is a long chain of neurons which is responsible for carrying the impulse from one neuron to another neuron, so that our brain and spinal cord can send the messages to different types of body organs. Now we can see that here also dendrites are present. Now these dendrites, they are the specialized cells. This particular type of structure is attached to this nerve ending. So if you want to draw this diagram, we can draw in this way, that the dendrites which are going to have the receptors for it, they are going to have the receptors for it. This is the neuron B. Now this is the dendrite part. Dendrite part, or we can say the receptor. See, the first neuron, nerve ending, up till this part the impulse get carried forward. From the dendrite, it has captured the signal and it has sent towards the nerve ending. Now this nerve ending is in contact with another neuron, that is neuron B. Now neuron B, it is going to have another dendrite part will be there, then again cell body will be there, then again axon part will be there and axon ending will be there, and so on it will get repeated there. Now this nerve ending and dendrites, they are in contact with each other. We cannot say that their surfaces are going to touch each other, but they are indirectly in contact with each other, and here is a small gap between them. Now this particular gap between these two structures is filled with certain types of chemicals. These chemicals are released by this particular part, that is the nerve ending of neuron 1. Nerve ending of neuron 1 is going to release certain chemicals. They are called as neurotransmitters. These are called as the neurotransmitters. Neuro means neuron, transmitters means which are going to transmit the impulse from one neuron to another neuron. Now the impulse which was carried forward from that first neuron, that is neuron A, it got carried forward towards the neuron B, that is the dendrite parts. So this particular part, that is the attachment between the two neurons, is called as synapse. This is called as the synapse. Now synapse, we can say that it is the junction between the two neurons. It is nothing but the junction between the two neurons. So this particular part is synapse, which is responsible for carry forwarding the impulse from one neuron to another neuron. Now whatever things we have received at the first instant when the neuron 1 was active, it received certain impulses. Then that particular impulse, with the help of these neurotransmitters, it was carried forward towards the dendrites of neuron B. Then it was carried forwards toward the cell body. That is, the cell body will be there, and from cell body again it will get carried forward to the axon, and from axon to the axon ending. In this way, this particular impulse is going to travel from one neuron to another neuron, and the junction between the two neurons, it is called as the synapse. Now how this synapse is going to occur and how it is going to carry forward the impulse, that we are going to see in our next lecture. Till that time,